It's like, dude, you're in a mind game. Like, can't you think for like a second? Like, god damn. It's a shame where I can't, like, the group I came into the hobby with were fucking elite thinking hobbyists. Now, it's like now we have brain dead zombies trying to play the game. No wonder they got to do raw rules as written. I'm like, yeah, the book is going to have to run the game because that guy can barely speak. The idea of creativity or thinking, out the door. No wonder you roll dice instead of searching rooms. No wonder people roll dice instead of speaking in character. Like, I heard Mike Merles finally say something old school, like, "Oh, you should role play first." I'm like, dude, you have made a game that has attracted a crowd of people that can barely think. Like, we have a hobby that is made up by a majority of people with extremely low IQs. And we have to accept it. It's just a reality. Like, if you could think, you're not going to be that lazy. It's a standard that you can't even blame the company, because it takes the people in the hobby to allow that standard to become normal. That was made, having hunger is just a net negative with no additional bonuses. Yep. It's called a challenge. Imagine when you paint challenge, like, oh, there's a challenge in the game. What does being challenged have to do with playing the game? Well, are we doing a stage play, dude? Is this drama class, or are you playing a game? The challenging aspect is challenging because it's a game. Like, some challenges aren't there to make your day better. Yeah, but what's fun? Repetitive fighting? I guarantee I could look at his session and just go, like, what you guys call fun, Miles, if I introduced you to a real session, you'd realize right away, holy fuck, okay, I didn't know I was playing the game at the top of the molehill. Because it's, guys, like, I feel bad for certain people in this hobby, where mediocrity is the only thing they're used to the extreme level that they think their very mediocre experience is actually good. They have nothing to compare it to. And this is why it started to hurt me when I entered the hobby. I get in with a great game master that right away introduced me to a game at the top of the mountain. And it poisoned me. It fucked me up because it made it almost impossible for me to find a game master I liked afterwards. It was being at the high right away. Here's the problem for a guy like you, Miles, and I'm not picking, but you're playing at the top of a very tiny molehill, right? You don't even know what it's like. You have no idea what it's like to be even. You're not a 1% up the mountain. You have no idea what it's like to game at the top of the mountain. And if I let you experience it, it would blow your mind. And could you understand the top of the mountain from watching it? No, you can't. The top of the mountain is for about. Remember, the game is not for the onlooker. The game is for the participant, right? And there is no way, because I can show you guys that have had some of the greatest nights in the world. If you watch them on the outside, it could look weird. But for you to be the participant and in your mind, like in and leaning forward and only speaking when you need to, so you're not worried about the onlooker to entertain him, but it's all about your participation, your imagination, and how lost you are in your mind. You realize right away, I feel bad for people that get stuck at the top of a molehill because they don't even know there's a mountain. They don't know they're let alone they don't know there's a top of the mountain. They don't even know a mountain exists in most cases. Well, if I'm breaking it down, all of our sessions turn into role playing for like an hour and a half and another hour of combat. And most of the role playing is probably not challenging. It's And role playing to you is not even role playing. You're speaking a bit in character, going through a town or something, meaningless stuff, and then you play for an hour. Oh my, what a mediocre experience. What an extremely mediocre experience. That is. You ever see that movie? I think it's like a Idiocracy or something like that. Well, if they were trying to play D&D, they would be doing what you're doing. That would be D&D to them. It's what you're actually doing. You're in the Idiocracy movie already, dude. Like, your sessions are part of that movie. But I would love to drag you into a session. It's not an ego thing. I'm not trying to attack what you're doing. And I hope you're really having fun. I really genuinely do. I want to be clear on that. But if I could get you into a real session, man, that would be wonderful. Such a general question. When you're running D&D, what's in your mind? Well, the homebrew is like my Skullhorn setting that I use now for Neo TTRPG System, but I've also used it for 2nd edition for a lot of years. I developed it from Sandbox Gaming. I started, Skullhorn started as a town. Now, it wasn't called Skullhorn, but the setting starts as a town, a random town, the medieval fantasy world, and I just have a town with a name. And I sandboxed the adventure. So we did one adventure there, well, not even adventure, like just players playing in the world, doing what they want to do, and I react. That develops into what you would call an adventure, right? But it's all they're choosing and me just reacting. And then developing between sessions what I've improvised in, what they've chosen to do, and developing that to the point where by the end of it, you would say that's an adventure, but it's all just players freely doing what they want. But over what they're doing, I develop the town to start the game, what I need of it. Then I start adding things like, they're going to go to a forest, so I got to start detailing what the forest is going to be a bit more, giving names to things. And then after developing all that stuff as related to the adventure, we do another start with new characters in the same place. Okay, so I got to develop more. And then just after 10 years of playing that, now the place has multiple locations, multiple islands, gods, all developed for different campaigns, for different things they're doing. And I played multiple campaigns in it, but all slowly developed. That's all homebrewing. Sandbox is homebrewing. Sandbox is pure homebrewing. Like, it's all, when you say homebrewing, now that's on making adventures in the setting. What about homebrewing, rules? The coolest homebrewing is just getting rid of things I thought would slow down the combat. Starting to realize the illusion of real is better than real. What do I mean? So you can simulate real by trying to have rules simulated. But I always said to myself, well, does it feel real in the game? So I remember trying to game early a TTRPG that used guns. And you would have to do multiple rolls every time you were doing a shot. And I said to myself, in gameplay, given what I know shooting guns, say, in video games or even in real life, in gameplay, given the pace of it, the amount of dice rolls you got to do, does it feel like I'm shooting a gun in the game? No. But are the rules properly related to reality? Is it simulating reality? Well, the rules, if you cut them down, they are answering to the reality of shooting a gun in real life. But the experience is not feeling like you're really shooting a gun. So I said to myself, I had a eureka moment where I finally realized I could change rules for guns, and I did for my game. So I brought guns into the AD&D 2nd edition game. And I said to myself, I'm going to simplify this. I'm going to do it where I'm not worried about the perfect simulation of reality, even though I'll sort of have something that sort of answers to some things, but simplify it. I'll worry about the feel of real. So it's like I want it to feel real when you're shooting the gun in the game, like it's real, than it is, say, other than that. I'm talking about rules here. It's say the gun rules. So homebrewing guns is the coolest thing I've ever done because it changed. Like I now that concept I took into my Neo TTRPG system. So in my medieval fantasy thing, I have guns like a rifle, shotgun, and pistol. But I also have Invasion, which is like a 90s uh, apocalyptic game. And it has all kinds of guns in it because the guns work so well that my guns work as well as, like, say, I like first-person shooter games like Daisy and Rust. So I said, look, we're playing a tabletop role-playing game. I could never get it that clean, have it shooting off like that. But could I get a game where you're playing with guns where it feels like it's such a fast pace using the guns in the game for the players that it feels more like the first-person shooter than, say, trying to simulate every possible thing with a dice roll, right? And I get it down to where I feel like you can be shooting the guns off in the game. And I game tested the Invasion to hell. Like, oh my fuck, the gunplay is awesome. Dangerous, but you don't just die. You can potentially die in one shot in the game. It is made like that, but my game is where combat's dangerous. It's still very flexible. Like even from the start, the game is just made where you can potentially take an extra hit or two. But it's not like a blow-up superhero game like, say, WotC. You're not that protected. Because there's this old school view of you can still die right away. You can still all this happen. But are you still flexible enough that you can take an extra hit or whatever? Stuff like that. Yeah. So it's a balance. It's a balance between, it's not as protective as WotC, so it's not overkill, but it's definitely a little bit more flexible in some of the old school games, right? So it's combat doesn't have to be over instantly. It can last, but it can be very dangerous at the same time. So I feel like, because I've game tested the shit out of the Neo TTRPG system, I feel it's extremely flexible. Combat can last and go and kick ass, but it can still be very extremely dangerous at the same time. And it's more like potential danger than guaranteed overkill. You're shot in one go. The potential of getting shot in one go and dead, it exists, but you have to roll in a certain way for that to happen. So there's no guarantee that's going to happen frequently. So there's a good chance you can take shots, and there's bulletproof this and that, and just ways and all that. So it's very flexible, but then when you get down to, say, you have lost your hit points and going to die, there's no three rolls before you're dead. So it's a balance between flexible and dangerous. And it's something I feel like most games don't have. Either they're very dangerous, even the newer games, where you just die right away, or they're too flexible. Like WotC is too flexible, right? So I wanted to hit a middle ground. I figure most games don't touch, and I really feel like most games don't touch, right? Even the games where you think they touch, still very dangerous, right? Still, Savage World's not bad, still extremely dangerous, right? It very quick death, right? Possibly. Rollmaster, even though you can be degraded down, as anybody who ran Rollmaster would know, or Chartmaster as they call it, still good chance you die right away. Like it's very dangerous. So it comes down to me finding the flexible middle, and I figure like I feel like I found it. But it's how do you be flexible, and then when you get to the death part, do you continue to be flexible to the point it becomes overkill like WotC? I'm like, no, and I'm even more flexible than WotC. So overall, you could probably take an extra hit than, say, WotC would allow you, right? But the balance part is, even though you could probably take an extra hit in my game, like there's more meat on the bone than there is a WotC character, when you get down to the death part, there's like one roll that can save you. And if you fail it, you're gone. Right? So it's that's where I'm not flexible. So it's more flexible. There's more meat on the bone of the character. But then when you get to guns do a lot of damage. So, I mean, of course, still flexible again in almost any game with a gun. Like one shot, most games, one shot will kill you. You could definitely take more than one shot in my game most of the time. Unless you're against like an assault rifle and you're hitting burst. Burst shots can just blow you the fuck. So, I mean, there's certain types of shots that can do you. And then there is like a rocket launcher in Invasion. And grenades. And that stuff can blow you the fuck up. So you got to be careful of that stuff. Right. So there is grenades and RPGs. And they're as dangerous as you would think they are. Because remember, the illusion of real. So, you know, great grenade can blow you up if it's right beside you. A grenade in the Invasion game can blow you the fuck up. If you get shot by a rocket from an RPG thing, you're fucked. You're done. You're dead. So guns. Figuring out guns was my magic. Depends on where you are. Because I have, like, Skullhorn is a massive world where I want you... I'll picture to you like this. Think about Skullhorn like 6 planets in one. All right? So just to understand the size of it. Some parts... you can run to people that don't even know about magic. Seriously. Then you can run into places where, well, it's not magic as a toy, but people know magic. And you can run to places where people have never seen a gun ever. And then you can run to places that have trains, steamboats, and it's not that everyone has a gun, but a lot of people can have guns. And there's reasons for it. It's all justified reasons why they exist in certain areas. So, are they super rare? It depends on where the game is. So, guns can play a very heavy role depending on where you decide. And Skullhorn is a gamer's setting, like Mysteria. It's made from a sandbox, so there's all kinds of places to explore. There's so many different campaigns you can do. Basically, it's a planet, a world made for multiple, whatever type of game you want to try with it. Want to try a game with little to no magic? You can. There's places in the world that can be a thing. Want to try a game where there's trains and a steamboat because there's a sort of magical gimmick that's like coal. It's not coal, but it's like coal. It does exist, and because of that, there's there's steamboats and trains and everything. There's no cars at the moment, but there are these trains and steamboats. Right, so we haven't got to the point of making cars or vehicles, but I mean, that could be sometime in the future. You never know. But there is a bit of what you call a bit of an industrial age push in some areas. But the reason they have advancement is because of magic. And magic, other races. So it's imagine you took real Earth, but you had gnomes, elves, magic, fantasy. And you said, well, how would we progress compared to the real world? Well, imagine there was a bit of cheating going on, so some progression might seem sort of out of whack compared to the real Earth. That's sort of the way I looked at this, right? It justifies itself because it's sort of like, why would this happen? Oh, yeah, there are airships you can run into, yep. Magical airships, definitely. Oh, yeah. So it can cover everything. And so it depends on... It's made that way because I want it made for the game master. Right? I want the game master to be able to go, okay, do I need to go buy 10 settings or 3 settings to get what I want? No. Dude, the game comes with one setting and it can provide you 1,000 different ways to come at it. So you don't need to buy another setting. You don't need to buy another game. The idea is everything's in one. And then that is the only thing that happens is I'll keep advancing that as I bring out a new edition. So I can advance the setting. advance the game. So a new edition would come out with Skullhorn updates, right? But I mean, I'd make sure you'd still have the new Skullhorn. It wouldn't be just the updates. So you wouldn't have to go all the way back and buy the original version in the far future, mind you, right? But the idea is everything's in one. Invasion is the same thing. I have Invasion set up with its setting. And when you buy the game, you don't got to buy a player's handbook or a Dungeon Master's Guide or a setting book or even a monster manual. My game comes with everything. Like Skullhorn has like 80 monsters right now. Has the entire game for all the stuff for players and game masters, all the rules, all the character creation, and it has the setting all in one package. So when you buy it, you're buying everything, right? And then I want to be able to do extended material, smaller books. Instead of doing modules, I like the idea of not bringing out rule changes like splat books like second edition. I want to take the inspiration from second edition that I realized players really wanted. It's a good experiment. It's going, what do players want? What do game masters want when you do additional books and material that could sell to people? Well, it's like making new mechs or a new mech system for the invasion world. Okay, that's cool, right? People want mechs. What about new guns or new vehicles or new skills or new this? Yes, people want that. So you can make up smaller booklets of stuff that could sell really well. And then, I don't mind putting a book together for adventure hooks and stuff like that, where I expect people to be sandboxing with Skullhorn in the invasion more than trying to run a pre-made adventure. The experience at the table, if you're not worried about telling a story, you shouldn't be. A story just emerges, as we talked about many times, Miles. But let me just tell you why I think it's more valuable. It's how you feel when you're playing the game in the character. It's like when the game master, like say, I take you to an area and I'm describing a place to you, right? There's a balance in there. I got to be very careful. Say I want something to seem spooky. I don't want to say spooky. I don't want to tell you how your character feels. I don't want to be long-winded either. There's a balance to how I explain it to you. That then I let your imagination work. I just put seeds in. And there's a feel to a game. Needing to check how much food you have when you're at the camp. There's activities going on that let you feel like you're in the character in the world. Resource tracking, getting information right. It's all kinds of these little tiny things that they on their own, if you're very simple about how you view it, it's hard to understand how that very simple thing creates a feel. But it's the tiny, small details. It really is. It's very small, very minute stuff that create a feeling of being in the world where it feels cool. And when if I'm running the game for you, it's like little things, like say it's raining outside in the game and you walk out and I tell you, like, it has started, like rain started to come down. You can feel raindrops hitting your face, a little bit of wetness going down like your cheek. I'm not going to say more than that, but it makes you think about it, right? You're reminded it's raining. I've even put a feel to it. I might even say, when it's been raining for a while, when you come out, there's that damp rain smell outside. Or if you're in the woods, you can smell that sort of wet woods smell coming up. I can tell you about the feeling. These are tiny, minute details. Tiny, tiny things to say to you. Small seeds to plant into your mind. But they create a feeling. They create an atmosphere. And the value of that experience and that feeling is more than you like. If I give it to you and then you go to a game where the next game master doesn't do it for you, you'll know. And it will be powerful. Like you'll realize just how valuable those tiny things were compared to not having them. Right? The tiny details I mentioned, checking how much food you have or if you lost your arrows, needing to track that stuff. Like there's a reality of the world that you're in. Like you actually lost your arrows, fucked, they're broken. It sounds minute, but there's a feel. Almost out of food, there's a feel. You gotta go hunting. It's stuff that you have to feel in the game and feel in the experience to realize just how valuable it is. And for people that have had the experience of this stuff, they know. They know right away. They totally get it. It is magic. It is something that once you have it, it's you never want to do without it again. And can you oversell it to people? It's hard. These are minute things. Very minute things that create a certain feel, experience, like you're in a world, you're in a character. This is real. He's lost arrows. Okay, that's real. Like there's a real to it. And it's, again, on the front of it, it's a minute detail. But the feeling is amazing. And it's hard to put that properly into words to somebody else sometimes, right? How important those small things are. Or like say I do videos explaining to game masters not to give an overwinded explanation. Because it's like, imagine your imagination as a player is extremely powerful. More powerful than most of us really think about, like a lot of people new to the hobby or something. And how you know how powerful your imagination is, just consider when you read a book. You know what I mean? How powerful your imagination is. A good storyteller, director of a movie will know this. That's why they won't put in certain information. They leave you purposely to fill the gaps in with your assumptions, because you will. And they know you will. When I don't like long-winded descriptions of anything, because here's what happens. Here's what I've learned over many years. When I start telling you details about a room or something, you might notice I don't oversell it to you, but I tell you all the details you need. I make sure the details are proper, quick, straightforward. Maybe adds a few elements, like maybe the room's painted, maybe. But I don't oversell. I don't try to be poetic in my wording. I'm very simple, because I know what will happen. You start using your imagination as I'm giving you words, because that's how you play the game, is through your imagination. You'll start playing the game. I call that playing the game. You start using your imagination as I'm giving you details. If I keep talking at a certain point, I will start fucking with your imagination, because you're trying to paint a picture. And the more details I give, the more you try to adjust your own picture over to a picture I'm trying to create, where I should just let you create it. That's a secret most game masters don't know. They don't need to create the picture with their poetic words. They need to let you create the picture. That's a secret to good game mastering, right there for description. They need to let the player take care, because what you create will be more entertaining than what I can try to force you to create. And if I keep talking, you'll jumble in your mind too many details, where it starts making a mess of the scene, and you start trying to consider other things. If I want a dark scene where it's scary, I don't need to tell you it's scary. I need to tell you basic things, like, all right, you're walking down the road, it's late at night, like just say you guys had like some type of torch or lantern going. You have a little bit of light around you. You can see the forest on either side of you. It is black. You can't see nothing in the forest on either side of you. You can barely see the sky up above. It's really, really at the dark hours. You don't, like, you see maybe one star. That's it. You're traveling through. I don't need to make that spooky. Your mind will make that spooky. All I got to do is at one point say, okay, you hear like a crack, like a tree branch crack in the woods. That will make you stop and think, like, okay, our character stopped. Huh? We hear a noise, and you can't see in the woods. Have I had to be poetic? No, Have I had to tell you it's creepy? No, you'll take care of that. Right. Now, once you know this, you know that game masters are manipulators. Not in a bad way. It's a social contract. You're allowing me to manipulate you with information. So I need to learn how to do that really good. Talented game masters start getting this right away. The raw guys, people that run it raw, won't. This is just not up their alley, right?